It is another day, boys. We open our eyes again, screaming into the abyss that is life. Wow, that was dramatic. Okay. Uh, Also, if you guys didn't know, these are unscripted ramblings, just thoughts that I have in the morning or at night or something. I'm gonna try and post probably every day for I don't know, like 6 months. See where it goes. If it's anything more than an audio diary. Okay, things we're thinking of today. So if you guys didn't know this about me, I was basically like married. I'm 24, but I was in a relationship for 7.5 years, something like that, almost 8. I was supposed to get married on the 8th anniversary, actually. Um, anyway, I'm pretty young, so when I got out of the relationship, I was 23, and it was a large chunk of my life. It's very interesting to like watch somebody grow or have such a deep friendship with somebody for such a long time. It's very odd because your friends when you are kids, you make relationships with that you can't really remake when you're adults. So, like for example, there's like a level of like almost like silliness that you have with somebody that you like never knew. Um, never knew as an adult and started to get to know as a kid. There's like things you do when you're a kid that are just like dumb and goofy, like undeveloped brain things. You make a bunch of stupid decisions, and then the inside jokes, the rapport you build off of that is something that you take into adulthood, right? Like the habits and boundaries that you had when you guys were kids, assuming they're not like wildly unhealthy. I mean, I guess for some people, even if they are unhealthy, um, you take these into adulthood, and they're just things that are like very hard to replicate as an adult. um, One of the things that is pretty difficult for me is I like that was kind of like my best friend. um, yeah, I mean she was my best friend. And she really really hates me. I don't think it's like completely founded, but I mean I'm not a good person. um, I just don't think I was necessarily a bad person to her, but I understand why she's at where she's at, which is tough because it's not like you lost a friend. It's like they died. You know, it's not like you just grew apart, which is a tough spot. It's a tough spot to be in. But I suppose it's life, and rebuilding friendships like those is very difficult. I think it's one of the biggest issues I've run into being a YouTuber because to some extent I am kind of crazy. Like I have like some sociopathic, narcissistic tendencies that make it hard for me to maintain many friendships. Um, and even if I had like a large pool of just associates to choose from, maintaining those would be difficult. Not really in like a situation where I have a bunch of coworkers to where I can be like, hey guys, like let's do this or let's get drinks or blah blah blah, right? I am the type of guy that maybe will connect to like 1 to 2 people for some period of time, and then I will grow distant. That's it. That's all I really have because I'm crazy actually. uh, it's a really hard thing to describe because I can kind of like drink out of somebody's like energy and see what's inside their head for a while, but it's hard to get like something really long term like that. There's only like a few like unique. I don't. Yeah, I mean like there's like a few personality types that I do really well with, um, but those are like a romantic thing. Like just having like super platonic friendships, I've had maybe a couple. Um, with women, obviously. With men, all my relationships have been platonic for obvious reasons. um, but I've only had like maybe I don't know, like 2 or 3 um relationships with women where I'm just like, oh, okay, like, this is going to be a platonic friendship, um, which is rough because it just makes everything super messy. And so my idea of like what is like friendly intimacy, like I don't necessarily want to like date everybody, but I like I like the openness. It's like there's no limit to what you can do and how you can hang out with somebody that is a little past platonic. which is obviously very messy, not a super healthy way to look at it. Um, but that's me, right? That's just how I interact with things. So one of the reasons why I'm in the situation I'm in, with having no friends. Uh, yeah, it's pretty bad. Um, it's also really weird because when you look back at your life, I think like just about like a third of my life or a little less was spent with another person. Um, so I'm kind of in a position to where I'm in a position to where everything I do has some kind of like connection to them. So at the same time, it's easy for me to like move on and do other things because I talked to some of my other friends and they're like, oh, you know, whenever I do something that reminds me of them, like it really breaks me down. And I sat down and I thought about it and I was like, dude, I was like, breaks me down. I was like, I still live in the same house. I still walk the same streets. I still cook the same food. I do the same workouts. I was like, I sleep in the same bed, bro. Like, I think if it bothered me a little more, I think I would go actually insane. I don't know if I'd be built for that. I mean, I'm a little crazy, but I'm like an inner crazy, right? Like outside is just pure stability. Like yesterday, I woke up, I ate my rice and chicken. I worked out, I hung out with my dad, ate some more rice and chicken, uh, talked a little bit to a friend, and then I went to sleep. Right, and that's like kind of my everyday. I used to be a little heavier into drinking. I suppose I did not have the uh, I didn't have the best influence from my friend um, or my most recent ex. That was not the super long term relationship. They both really liked drinking, and they could both drink me under the table. And trying to keep up with that was probably not great for me. Um, but on the same token, I would say like my friend that was a bad influence. I still hang out with her every once in a while. But she definitely understood me more than anybody like ever has, maybe in my life. Um, which was kind of humbling, I suppose. I didn't expect her to connect with me on the level she did because when I knew her when I was younger, she was completely different. Whereas I am still, I guess, the same person that I was when I was younger. My actions are different, but my mindset, like the person talking into the camera now, like I have been this person since I was like 6 or 7. Just as soon as I became self aware, like the the kind of like damaged point of view has been out. Now, granted, I've taken a considerable amount more damage since then. That has made me perhaps a little bit of a worse person, or maybe a less stable person. I was always a bad person. I think I just hadn't done my actions yet, but I was still the person capable of doing them. Point is, that friend understood me a lot, and she really liked to drink, and so I just drank a ton. And it was murdering my gains. It was really sad. I'm not like in the craziest shape on the planet, but I work out a pretty decent amount. I didn't know alcohol had calories in it. So I was like, it's like clear. I know, like that's what a himbo statement. I was not hot enough to think like that and be called a himbo at that point. Um, I was like, every shot of Tito's has to be 0 cal. It's like a clear liquid, right? And then somebody like I was talking to my chat, and they're like, "Are you a moron? Why would it have 0 calories? It's made from like like barley, or like potatoes." And I was like, "Oh, that's true." I was like, "Oh, this is like I'm like drinking like bread. I'm like carving it up and like destroying my recovery process." I was like, I'm an idiot. Okay, I got it. Um, but even knowing that, I was still drinking with her because I just really enjoyed her company. Um, just good. It's hard. It's hard to be understood out here. It's hard to find people to understand you. Um, because even my ex didn't understand me, which is kind of crazy. You think about it for almost 8 years, and you think they would understand you, but I suppose they can't, right? There are like certain things you can never just tell the world. There's certain things you can never tell other people. There's certain things that you take to with you to your grave. Um, to some extent, I think I probably give 95% of myself to everybody, and the 5%, I trickle out as I see fit. Um, she probably got the most out of like anybody. She got stuff that'll probably never be repeated to another human being again. She's probably like at like 98% or something. But those last 2%, I mean, there's some things that nobody has seen. Some things that I haven't even told like the pages of the poetry that I write. But I guess nobody really knows everything. Um, anyway, mood today, maybe a 4. Was feeling pretty good at first, but then I woke up a little more, and then I felt kind of sadder. But a 4 is kind of average, so not too bad. Um, we'll see how the day goes. If I get really sad, you guys will see the nighttime upload, and then I'll just upload my nighttime video in the morning. Take it easy, guys, and I will see all 0 of you later.